The readings will now be given by Bruce.
I will read from the Bible. Psalms. Judge me, O Lord, for I have walked in mine integrity. I have trusted also in the Lord. Therefore I shall not slide. Examine me, O Lord, and prove me. Try my reins and my heart. For thy loving kindness is before mine eyes, and I have walked in thy truth, that I may publish with the voice of thanksgiving and tell of all thy wondrous works. Acts. And when it was day, certain of the Jews banded together and bound themselves under a curse, saying that they would neither eat nor drink till they had killed Paul. Then Agrippa said unto Paul, Thou art permitted to speak for thyself. Then Paul stretched forth the hand and answered for himself. And now I stand and am judged for the hope of the promise made of God unto our fathers. I verily thought with myself that I ought to do many things contrary to the name of Jesus of Nazareth, which thing I also did in Jerusalem. Whereupon, as I went to Damascus, with authority and commission from the chief priests, at midday, O King, I saw in the way a light from heaven, above the brightness of the sun, shining round about me and them which journeyed with me. And when we were all fallen to the earth, I heard a voice speaking unto me, and saying in the Hebrew tongue, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. And I said, Who art thou, Lord? And he said, I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest. But rise and stand upon thy feet. For I have appeared unto thee for this purpose, to make thee a minister and a witness, both of these things which thou hast seen, and of those things in the which I will appear unto thee. Whereupon, O King Agrippa, I was not disobedient unto the heavenly vision. For these causes the Jews caught me in the temple and went about to kill me. Having therefore obtained help of God, I continue unto this day, witnessing both to small and great, saying none other things than those which the prophets and Moses did say should come, that Christ should suffer, and that he should be the first that should rise from the dead, and should show light unto the people and to the Gentiles. And when he had thus spoken, the king rose up. And when they were gone aside, they talked between themselves, saying, This man doeth nothing worthy of death or of bonds. 1 Corinthians. Let a man so account of us as of the ministers of Christ, and stewards of the mysteries of God. For I know nothing by myself, yet Am I not hereby justified? But he that judgeth me is the Lord. Therefore judge nothing before the time, until the Lord come, who both will bring to light the hidden things of darkness, and will make manifest the counsels of the hearts. And then shall every man have praise of God. Matthew. Then said Jesus, Judge not, that ye be not judged. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what measure ye mete, it shall be measured to you again. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in thine own eye? Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye. Genesis. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? The correlative reading is from Prose Works by Mary Baker Eddy. One's first lesson is to learn one's self. Having done this, one will naturally, through grace from God, forgive his brother and love his enemies. To avenge an imaginary or an actual wrong is suicidal. If a man is jealous, envious, or revengeful, he will seek occasion to balloon an atom of another man's indiscretion, inflate it, and send it into the atmosphere of mortal mind for other green eyes to gaze on. He will always find somebody in his way and try to push him aside. Will see somebody's faults to magnify under the lens that he never turns on himself. What have been your leaders' precepts and example? Were they to save the sinner and to spare his exposure so long as a hope remained of thereby benefiting him? Has her life exemplified long-suffering, meekness, charity, purity? She readily leaves the answer to those who know her. He who judges others should know well whereof he speaks. Where the motive to do right exists, and the majority of one's acts are right, we should avoid referring to past mistakes. The greatest sin that one can commit against himself is to wrong one of God's little ones. Who hath not learned that when alone he has his own thoughts to guard, and when struggling with mankind, his temper, and in society, his tongue? We also have gained higher heights, have learned that trials lift us to that dignity of soul which sustains us, and finally conquers them, and that the ordeal refines while it chastens. No reproof is so potent as the silent lesson of a good example. Works more than words should characterize Christian Scientists. Most people condemn evil doing, evil speaking, yet nothing circulates so rapidly. Even gold is less current. Christian Scientists have a strong race to run and foes in ambush. But bear in mind that in the long race, honesty always defeats dishonesty. No evidence before the material senses can close my eyes to the scientific proof that God, good, is supreme. Though clouds are round about him, the divine justice and judgment are enthroned. Love is especially near in times of hate, and never so near as when one can be just amid lawlessness and render good for evil. Success in sin is downright defeat. Hatred bites the heel of love that is treading on its head. All that worketh good is some manifestation of God, asserting and developing good. Evil is illusion that, after a fight, vanisheth with the new birth of the greatest and best. Conflict and persecution are the truest signs that can be given of the greatness of a cause or of an individual, provided this warfare is honest and a world-imposed struggle. Such conflict never ends till unconquerable right is begun anew and hath gained fresh energy and final victory. Certain elements in human nature would undermine the civic, social, and religious rights and laws of nations and peoples, striking at liberty, human rights, and self-government. And this too, in the name of God, justice, and humanity? These elements assail even the new old doctrines of the prophets and of Jesus and his disciples. History shows that error repeats itself until it is exterminated. Surely the wisdom of our forefathers is not added, but subtracted from whatever sways the scepter of self and pelf over individuals, weak provinces, or peoples. Here, our hope anchors in God, who reigns, and justice and judgment are the habitation of his throne forever. Mankind will be God-governed in proportion as God's government becomes apparent, the golden rule utilized, and the rights of man and the liberty of conscience held sacred. Meanwhile, they who name the name of Christian Science will assist in the holding of crime in check, will aid the ejection of error, will maintain law and order, and will cheerfully await the end, justice and judgment. Therefore, I close here with the apostles' injunction. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. Those things which ye have both learned and received and heard and seen in me, do, and the God of peace shall be with you. With love, Mother, Mary Baker G. Eddy.